How's it going, everyone? So I'm Trevor from Dock to Dish, based out of Montauk here, and we have a lovely afternoon here, and we're just going to go through the process of scaling, gutting, and filleting a porgy. It's pretty straightforward, and we like to do this in a large tub of water. It just kind of keeps scales from going everywhere. It's pretty straightforward. You just hold the fish under the water, you know, watching out for spines on the fins, because they'll get you and it definitely hurts. You're just going up just under the side fin there. So basically, the way that you can tell whenever you've got all your scales removed, you know, if you go like that with the grain, it sort of looks like there's still scales there. But when you go against, you can see there are not actually any scales. And especially if you have a well-lit area, so this side we still have the scales on, they're a lot shinier, you know. So, and you can just see. So that gives you a good idea of sort of what without scales and then with scales. So you see. So that's what you're looking for. That's all done. So now for the gutting process, basically you can see here there's an opening here. That's the anus of the fish, and so you're going to use that opening to start your cut. Basically, you are going down the belly towards the head. Then you're going to just cut through this breastplate just a little bit. Just like that. Yeah, pretty straightforward. This is the glamorous portion of filleting fish. There's your guts. And then you just there's no sort of wrong way to do it. You just get your hands in there and pull everything out. So yeah, I mean, and you don't have to go crazy or anything, you know, that's certainly clean enough. Just give it a quick rinse. And now you're gutted and you're ready to start filleting. For filleting, you pretty much start with the same 2 cuts every time. It really is sort of a sequence though, you just sort of follow the same sequence every time. Generally what I'll do is I'll start with belly towards me, head to the left. You're gonna make a cut. So there's the gills here, and then your side fin there. There's a bone there. You're basically just gonna cut right underneath there. You're gonna make a cut from here to there, severing the belly, ending right up behind the head. So just like that. So there's a slight angle, sort of inwards. It's not like a straight up and down sort of thing, angling in. And then same thing on the other side. Head to the left, belly away from you. Exactly the same idea. So there you go. So now those are the first 2 cuts. Like I said, I follow the same process every time. I'll always start with the head to the right, belly towards me, and basically what we're doing is we're going to make a cut through the belly and then the back. Then we're going to go on the other side, go back, belly. So you can just sort of remember that, belly, back, belly. This is how I've always done this. There's a million ways, different other techniques and stuff. But I'll sort of explain as we go along why we're doing it this way. So now, if you're familiar with the general sort of structure of the fish, there's the actual spinal cord is here, and then there's bones radiating out from that. There's the ribs right here. And what we're doing is we're going to open up the belly, touching the spine, and ending just sort of below the ribs. The idea is that you should feel the tip of your blade, and you can hear that, right? That's the tip of the knife dragging against those bones. And so the idea is that you bring the knife up to the spine and just open it up. So you can see there, that's what you heard before. It was just the tip of the knife against the bones. That's ideal because you want to get everything that you possibly can. You're just opening it up to the spine. Now the same thing essentially on the other side. Get in there. The thing is that often this is a spot. There's usually a couple scales, which just makes it a little hard to get in. So yeah, so yeah, that's what you want to hear. You want to hear the sound of the knife up against the bones. And so that's sort of that initial cut, just to kind of open it up, and then same thing, following the bones, bringing the knife just against the spine there. So we just finish opening it up just a little bit, and then what I'll do is I'll just, so this is our spinal cord here. We're open up on either side. I'm just going to go through just like that. So now we've gotten really everything we possibly can. The fillet is connected right here at the tail, and then here at the ribs. I like to leave it at that point and then go to the other side. The reason I like to do that is because now you can make these cuts and you still have the other fillet on there. It's kind of keeping that whole sort of shape of the fish. Lots of people do, it is definitely a little bit faster if you take this fillet off and then do the other side. But I also think just when you're learning and just to get like maximum yield and kind of great shape, leaving that fillet on there makes it just a little easier to work with. So yeah, so now we did belly back, we're gonna go back belly. So starting just at the base of the head, opening it up there. And again, this sort of initial cut, it's just kind of to get it started. And then go the rest of the way. So now we've opened it up to the spine there. And then the ribs here. So now we'll go for the belly. Same thing. I mean, this is definitely a technique that's it's designed for yield and for a nice, clean, beautiful fillet. I really, I like to take my time. This is not about speed. It's not for me. I'm not in a hurry. So yeah, take your time, make it nice. All right, so now, yeah, we have both of our fillets. They're connected only at the tail and at the ribs. And then this next move is maybe the hardest part, but basically, so here's our ribs. The ribs are connected to the fillet by the pin bones. You can't really see them, but they're just, the ribs are here and you can feel that with your knife. Just above them is where the pin bones are. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cut through the pin bones. So there, we just severed the pin bones. And now we're gonna cut around the ribs. So yeah, and that leaves us with a nice fillet. And the ribs are still on the fillet here, or on the body rather. So this, it's ideal, I guess, if you want to take this belly flap off with it. Again though, you're probably going to end up trimming that anyways because it's going to have the stomach lining connected to it. And so since you're going to trim that off anyways, and it's also such a thin portion of the fish that when you go to cook that, it's going to be overcooked before the rest of the fillet is even finished cooking. So again, we'll just sort of show that getting through the pin bones. So yeah, so these are those are our pin bones and these are our ribs. So now we're just going to go just above the ribs. So that's sort of the ideal. One side usually always comes out a little better for me than the other. So yeah, so that's kind of like the ideal fillet, but also like I said, so that's our stomach lining. We don't really want that. And so we're just gonna make a nice sort of trim, just like that. And even still, this is really skinny. Do you want to eat that? Is there really anything there to eat? You know, it's perfectly fine to just kind of trim that off, and so you kind of end up with the same thing either way. So yeah, so these are our 2 fillets. Last kind of thing for your perfectly manicured. So yeah, the last sort of thing for your sort of perfectly manicured fillet is removing the pin bones. So like I said, these bones that we cut through that attach to the ribs. I mean, you either remove them now or you remove them when you're eating it. So you're pulling bones out of your mouth, which maybe is not what you want. But you push against the grain of the fish and the bones will just stand right up. You can feel them really easily. And so then you get in there with your tweezers. The idea then is you grab the bone and then you pinch on either side of the bone so that you don't tear up the flesh too much. You know, with these fish, they're small, kind of skinny fillets, so it's pretty hard to not damage it at all. But basically, you're just getting in there, grabbing the bone, pinching around, and then you get a nice clean bone with minimal sort of impact to the flesh. That's it. So that's our pin-boned, perfectly clean, beautiful fillet. So then from here, when it comes to sort of handling this and storing this, I really like crispy skin, like pan-fried fish. What I would do at this point, and I pretty much do this first process with just about any and every fish, is I would slip this into a 10% brine. So that's 1,000 grams of water, 100 grams of salt, and a fillet this skinny, 5 minutes tops. So you just slip it in there, goes for a little swim in your brine. 5 minutes, comes out, pat it dry with a towel, put it on sort of like a kitchen towel, not terry cloth, like something that's doesn't have a lot of fibers on it, and leave it skin side up, uncovered in your fridge. That'll let the skin get nice and dry. If you can let it go overnight, that's great. If you can let it go a couple hours, that's good. The skin needs a little bit of time to dry, and that brine helps sort of set the flesh. It makes the flesh nice and sort of a little bit have a little more texture to it, a little more firm. Pulls out sort of excess moisture, so it's not this sort of soggy, waterlogged flesh. And that salt helps the skin dry. So after it's been in that brine, pat it dry onto a towel, uncovered in the fridge for a couple hours at the bare minimum, and then you're good to go. You can pan roast it, grill it, whatever you want. It's your delicious. And porky's it's a delicious fish. It's actually quite fatty, got a lot of flavor. It's really